Hello, I'm Esther Githu-Ewart. Welcome to Africa 54. Here's what's coming up. Israeli and rebel airstrikes decimate what is left of the Syrian military. Voice of America was in Qatana and will have details on the military base hit by Israel. Many Americans say they expect President-elect Donald Trump to prioritize improving the economy once he is sworn in. And in Ghana, young tech enthusiasts are enhancing women's and girls' participation in STEM by using 3D printing to create robot parts. All this and much more coming up on today's Africa 54. We begin in the Middle East, where Israeli and rebel airstrikes have decimated what is left of the Syrian military. Voice of America was in Qatana, a military base bombed by Israel, which claims its actions are designed to prevent Assad's military arsenal from falling into the hands of the rebels who are now in power. From Qatana, Syria, Joan Cabasas Vegas filed this report, narrated by Veronica Villafañe.
The 30-kilometer stretch of road between Damascus and Qatana in Syria tells the story of the collapse of President Bashar al-Assad's army. Abandoned tanks and military uniforms litter the route. The mass exodus and desertion of the Syrian army left behind a significant arsenal scattered throughout the country, which Israel has been relentlessly targeting with airstrikes since the fall of Assad. Mahmoud works at a quality control center located between military bases on the outskirts of Damascus.
Strikes through it all weapon around us. They want to strike all military weapons here in Syria.
Israeli airstrikes destroyed the tanks and other weapons at this military base in Qatana, according to Mohammed al-Sheikh, a member of the ruling rebel group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, or HTS, and part of Syria's new Ministry of Foreign Affairs. When questioned about the Israeli bombings, he shifted focus, stating his preference to discuss the alleged crimes committed by the Assad brigade previously stationed here.
Members of the army should have been with the people, but the opposite happened under al-Assad's mandate. They killed us, put our people in prison, and forced us into exile.
A sheikh, a Qatana native, claims that HTS has established security and coexistence in the municipality. We observed him engaging with local Christian residents, promising them equal rights. Syrian Muslim Walid Mishbel welcomes the arrival of the Islamist group.
Thank God there is no discrimination, no revenge, and no one is held accountable to anyone. Everything is in order. We are all here to serve this homeland.
In the streets of Qatana, residents say for now they are thankful Israel appears to be targeting only military positions. For Joan Cabasas Vega in Qatana, Syria, Veronica Villafañe, VOA News.
Mozambique's disputed election results is continuing to spark protests from opposition supporters. The unrest is affecting business operations, and it's led to the closure of key trade corridors. A senior International Monetary Fund official says Mozambique's 2024 economic growth is likely to be revised downward due to post-election civil unrest and the impact of Cyclone Chido. For more insight on the situation, I'm joined live from Luanda, Angola by Josa Gama, a Southern African political analyst. Josa, it's great to have you on Africa 54. Tell us what toll this unrest has taken on Mozambique since the disputed October 9th elections.
Good afternoon. So actually, Mozambique is facing a political instability, and these arrests are leading the country to a decline of foreign investment. As you know, Mozambique's, let's say, GDP depends on foreign investment. It depends on the donors, and actually, with this environment of uncertainty, this make the foreign investment, the foreign investor to fear the country. So we believe that the Mozambique authority must must find a solution for this environment they are facing right now.
Joseph, we understand also that there is a high-profile delegation from neighboring countries that have already met due to concerns that these protests might increase after the Constitutional Council announces the final results. This has been the bone of contention there. What do you anticipate will happen once the final announcement is made?
Okay, any solution for this situation cannot be addressed without Venancio Mondlane. And the first thing is that the authority must guarantee that Venancio Mondlane, if he comes to the country, he won't be arrested. Even though the judge from Supreme Court said that there's no warranty arrest for Venancio Mondlane, but all of us know that his life is at risk. So all the parts involved must come to the negotiation table. Venancio Mondlane, Chapo, and all other leaders of political parties, in order to find a solution. Because right now, people are listening to Venancio Mondlane. Venancio Mondlane became a natural leader. So he's the one who leading those arrests, those protests, those street protests, and is definitely part of solution for stability in Mozambique.
Maybe the other party might say maybe that is probably half and half here, because both Daniel Chapo and Venancio contested, this election. Of course, we know the results. It's been chaos for almost 2 months now. Are there any attempts from leaders of the Southern African nations to bring Chapo and Venancio together to kind of try to restore calm in the country?
So last week, President of Angola, João Lourenço, met Cyril Ramaphosa in South Africa and appealed Cyril Ramaphosa to help Mozambique find a solution for stability and peace. So let's see what Ramaphosa will do, what efforts we can expect for him. Because, as you know, Angola and South Africa have already recognized this election. Because there's ANC, MPLA, and Frelimo. They share very similar values, very similar political ideology. And it looks like there's a kind of solidarity between them. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Mondlane will accept any mediation from Angola or either South Africa, because those guys, those countries have already taken part. Right.
We're going to have to leave it there, Josa. Thank you so much for your insight. We hope for the best. Josa Gama is a Southern African political analyst. Ghana's Supreme Court on Wednesday dismissed 2 separate cases challenging the legality of one of Africa's most restrictive pieces of anti-LGBT legislation. The bill will only become law after being ratified by the outgoing president, Nana Akufo-Addo, or his successor, John Mahama. Before being rejected by the court, Parliament unanimously approved the bill in February. It increases a crackdown on the rights of LGBT people and those promoting lesbian, gay, or other non-conventional sexual or gender identities. However, President Akufo-Addo delayed signing it pending the challenges filed at the Supreme Court. The economy was one of the biggest issues for voters in this year's U.S. presidential election. As they await President-elect Donald Trump's return to power, many Americans say they expect improving the economy will be one of his first priorities. VOA correspondent Scott Stearns has more.
Donald Trump's campaign focus on the economy carried through to his victory speech.
I will not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve.
A majority of voters said the economy and jobs were the most important issues in this election, says pollster Ashley Kirzinger.
With so many voters focusing on the economy, AP Vocast finds that the share of voters who say that their household's family finances are falling behind has increased from 4 years ago.
And on the economy, Kirzinger says, more people chose Trump. An overwhelming message from voters heard clearly on the losing side as well. Hakeem Jeffries leads Democrats in the House of Representatives.
They want us to focus on the issues that matter and to come together to solve problems for hardworking American taxpayers, beginning with lowering costs for everyday Americans struggling to live paycheck to paycheck.
In New Mexico, Judy Evans says she chose Trump because prices are too high.
Inflation has certainly affected me. My grocery bill has doubled in the last 2 years. My electricity and that sort of thing has gone up quite a bit.
In North Carolina, Aaron Anderson admires Trump's record on the economy.
Trump, he's going to get it fixed for us. It was running good when he was in here before, and get it back on track again.
Voter Charles Boudreau expects fast action from the new administration.
Or they'll have less regulations. They'll be spending more in their particular areas. People that'll have more money will spend more money in their particular areas. Gas prices will go down.
U.S. consumers may not see such quick change, says finance professor Michael Weber.
At the end of the day, a president in the short run, independent of who is in the White House, has very little grasp on economic policy in the very short run, but also in specifically on grocery prices, the price at the shelf we face in our daily lives.
Trump's economic plans include more oil drilling, lower taxes, and import tariffs, which most economists believe will result in higher prices for American consumers. Scott Stearns, VOA News.
Parts of the French territory of Mayotte are still in ruin on Wednesday, days after Cyclone Chido ripped through the archipelago on Saturday. Metal sheets from shanty towns on the main island's northeastern district were seen strewn over hillsides as children played around the debris. Chido was the strongest storm to hit Mayotte in more than 90 years, according to the French Weather Service. French officials say hundreds or even thousands could be dead from the cyclone, but only 22 fatalities have been recorded in hospitals. Many areas are still inaccessible due to infrastructure damage, hindering rescue and relief efforts. Pope Francis on Wednesday prayed for the residents of Mayotte.
I express my closeness to all the inhabitants of the archipelago of Mayotte, devastated by a cyclone, and assure them of my prayers. May God grant rest to those who have lost their lives, the necessary assistance to those in need, and comfort to the families who have been affected.
Cameroonians are voting next year to elect a president for another 7-year term. Previous elections were marred by disinformation that fueled chaos on social media platforms. Now journalists and media professionals say they are taking preemptive measures to prevent a repeat of the issues. Joseka Danhatu reports from Buea, Cameroon.
Ambo Vanessa Lizzie, a social media content creator in Buea, was browsing through social media when news popped up that falsely reported that Cameroon's 91-year-old president, Paul Biya, had died. Vanessa Lizzie suspected the news to be fake, but the president was out of the country and the government didn't release a statement denying the rumor until after a month following official visit to China. But the news had already gone viral.
In as much as we want change, I will not wish anybody death.
The rumor, it turns out, was started by an anti-separatist group working to establish an autonomous English-speaking region in Cameroon. Batata Boris Kalov, station manager of CBS Buea in southwest Cameroon, vows to fight similar rumors and provide accurate reporting, especially as the 2025 election approaches. He says he spent over 5 years fact-checking reports.
I'm already preparing myself to tackle elections misinformation that may come in.
Jude Mbaku, the editor-in-chief of DMR TV Buea, is a leading fact-checker in the region. His track separatist group using social media to mislead the public, even on personal matters involving the Cameroonian National Football Club.
When the Lions went to Côte d'Ivoire for the African Nations Cup there, the Indomitable Lions were there, rumor peddlers had it that Jay Clinton had resigned from the squad. And those who propagated this more were the separatist fighters, because this was not done as a matter of a mistaken thing. It was well cooked, well prepared to disinform and misinform people.
Karloff says combating disinformation is more difficult due to limited funding, security risk, and restricted access to information.
I have gone to the regional delegation of transport to ask for statistics of registered cars in the southwest, particularly in Buea. And I was told to go and stand on the road to start counting the cars myself.
Journalism experts are urging fact-checkers to keep fighting disinformation and practicing responsible reporting.
You have to keep pushing for laws that will guarantee for access to information. In Cameroon, the constitution provides for that, but we do not yet have access to information acts.
And just like elsewhere around the world, journalists here say social media is the primary source of disinformation in Cameroon. Njozeka Danhatu, VOA News, Buea, Cameroon.
Still to come, why young tech enthusiasts in Ghana are enhancing women's and girls' participation in STEM. We'll be right back.
On the next Straight Talk Africa, in a few weeks, a new administration ascends to power in the White House and carves out new rules of engagement with the world. How will the America First approach of President-elect Donald Trump affect U.S. engagement with Africa? Join me, Vincent Makori, and my guests for an in-depth discussion on Washington's new U.S.-Africa perspective.
The African diaspora has long played a vital role in supporting families back home. Today, this has evolved as more members of the diaspora shift their focus from sending money to making long-term investments. On the next edition of Our Voices, we'll explore opportunities for Africans in the diaspora to find financial success in their native countries, challenges they might face, and explore innovative platforms that are helping to bridge the gap. Join the conversation each week right here on Our Voices.
In other news, the Democratic Republic of Congo is filing criminal complaints against APO subsidiaries in France and Belgium, accusing the tech firm of using conflict minerals in its supply chain, according to lawyers for the Congolese government. Congo is a major source of tin, tantalum, and tungsten used in computers and mobile phones, but some artisanal mines are run by armed groups. APO says it does not directly source primary minerals and says it audits suppliers. In addition to wreaking havoc in parts of Mozambique, disaster officials say Storm Chido has killed at least 7 people in Malawi and affected more than 30,000 others. A preliminary assessment report released by Malawi's Department of Disaster Management Affairs says the storm blew off the roofs of schools, health facilities, and houses. Originally, a tropical cyclone Chido developed northeast of Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. Kenyan scientists say they are studying a mealworm native to Africa that can consume and biodegrade plastic. Experts report that the mealworm produces enzymes that can help break down plastic waste. Juma Majanga reports from Nairobi.
Evelyn Wamboi and other scientists are busy working at this lab at the International Center for Insect Physiology and Ecology, or ICIPE, in Nairobi. She says they are studying a type of mealworm that can eat and break down plastics.
This insect is going to be of help because we've identified, first, it can consume the plastic, especially the styrofoam, and 2, it has a group of bacteria that is helping in the plastic degradation process.
Wamboi and fellow scientist Crisanta Zimbi Tanga are among 4 ICIPE experts who co-authored a September report in the journal Nature.
The advantage with this insect is that it is native to Kenya and in Africa in general, compared to the other mealworm that has been described in other parts of the world, like the yellow mealworm. And so this makes us to have a home-based solution, and an insect that has adapted to our climatic environment has been able to survive and thrive within the environment.
The UN Environment Programme says plastic pollution is one of the biggest environmental challenges facing the world. There are more than 400 million tons of plastic produced annually, but less than 10% get recycled. The scientists at ISIPE are studying ways to collect the bacteria living in the worm's guts and find out whether they can be used to manage plastic waste.
Those bacteria can be harnessed from the insect, and then we do a scale-up of, produce millions and millions of these bacteria that can be used to degrade the polystyrene waste.
But some environmental activists aren't convinced the findings will solve the plastic waste problem.
We've only found insects that only degrade a certain type of plastics, polystyrene, PET, and we have a lot of forms of plastics. So what of the other forms of plastics? And also, once these insects have eaten these plastics, what is the byproduct?
We are not saying that it's a silver bullet, but what we are saying is that it could be an integrated approach in plastic management. If you can bring down plastic degradation by 30 to 50%, that would be a very huge impact in terms of waste management in the continent.
Mutwal says the best way to address the plastic problem is to produce less of it.
So you have a lot of problematic and unnecessary plastics like the sachets, the PET bottles, which we really do not need, which is like straws and the rest. We need to cut the production of those ones.
Mutwal says Kenya is one of the 34 countries that have banned single-use plastic bags in Africa as the continent continues to grapple with the problem of plastic pollution. Juma Majanga, VOA News, Nairobi.
Young tech enthusiasts in Ghana are enhancing women's and girls' participation in STEM by using 3D printing to create robot parts. This method enables rapid prototyping and cost-effective solutions, empowering innovators and fostering creativity. Our technology correspondent Paul Ndiho just returned from Ghana, where he spoke with Jonathan Kennedy, CEO of Invotech STEM Center in Accra.
I grew up in the midst of a lot of challenges, and then I was able to find solutions to some of the challenges. And Invotech happens to be some of the solutions that I came about. And I didn't know who to talk to. There wasn't anyone in my community doing what I do now.
Everything you do is self-taught. What do you do here at Invotech?
So Invotech is an innovation hub. I'm the founder and CEO, so we are into STEM education, we are into research and development, and we are into entrepreneurship training for the youth. Invotech is an organization that tries to empower the youth with industry-relevant skills in science, technology, engineering, and maths through robotics education, because we believe that robotics incorporates all aspects of STEM. And you can find a piece of everything in it.
When we walked in, we saw a couple young people in there. What are they working on?
They are building websites and mobile apps for clients. So we provide STEM education programs for schools. We also build mobile apps and web apps for individuals and organizations.
You took me on a tour. You showed me some 3D printers. You're fabricating machines, you're fabricating stuff. So tell me more about it.
The 3D printing is part of the models that we train the youth on. When we do robotics, we teach them the building part, we teach them the programming part, and then we teach them the manufacturing part. So they get an idea of how they can actually model their own parts and components for their projects. So that is where the 3D printing comes in. With the 3D printing, what we are using it for is that we use it to prototype the concepts that the students come up with, the ideas they come up with. So we create the designs, we prototype, we test.
What's one of those things that you've designed and you're so proud of it?
Oh, the robot arm. Yes, we designed a robot arm that, we are looking at adding AI functionalities to it so that it can move autonomously. So that's one of the projects I'm more excited about.
So how do you make money? How many projects like this do you need to sustain yourself?
So currently we make money through the sales of the softwares and apps that we build. We also make money from providing trainings to schools and students. On weekends, the students come here for Saturday classes, and then during the weekdays, some students also come. So that is how we sustain.
Very nice. What keeps you going?
The fulfillment. The fulfillment I get, the aha moments you get when you are teaching a child something and then they get it. When they get to that point where they realize that, oh, I can do this, or I can actually print this, oh, I can do this with a 3D printer. That's like the moments that I find fulfillment in.
So the kids that you teach, are they more into 3D printing, or they want to learn everything about robotics and coding and everything else?
They want to learn everything. Every new thing we bring on board, they just want to. They are so curious, and that makes the learning more exciting and the teaching more exciting for us because they keep us on our toes. When a new technology comes, we have to learn it real fast because they are interested.
How many kids have you trained so far?
So far, we are reaching about 18,000 now. Last year, we were about 17,500. But this year, we've been able to add more to it.
And you go to the local schools or inner city schools, or you even go up country?
We travel throughout the country. We go to schools in rural areas, in the urban areas. We go to the villages. We are everywhere.
So do you have staff to help you do all that stuff?
Yes, we have a mobile STEM van that we take to the villages. So when we are going, we pack everything into the van. We have a couple of volunteers and then our staff join. And then we go and stay in the community for about a week, just teaching kids how to use computers, how to build robots, and then how to program them.
How big is AI here?
AI is huge over here in Ghana. We have some innovators who are using AI in the health space. We have some using it in the education space. We are currently building an AI-enabled platform for educators and school owners as well.
That was Jonathan Kennedy, CEO of Invotech STEM Center in Accra, Ghana. And that's our show for today. Be sure to watch Africa 54 on our website at voaafrica.com. From all of us here in Washington, thanks for watching.